Jay here for Stretford Paddock. That's Joe Smith. This is Transfers Live, and we are here in South Carolina. Yes, the US of A.
The beautiful South Carolina.
The beautiful South. It is. Yeah. It is actually beautiful, and it's very friendly, isn't it?
Yeah.
We experienced some southern hospitality earlier, and it does seem like that is a thing. So great to see, and we're having a good time. We've only just got here, sunny. There's loads of bugs in that, but, rough with the smooth. It's first world problems. We've got loads of stories to crack on with. We're going to talk about Matthijs, the Ligt. We're going to be talking about Noussair, Mazraoui. We're also going to be talking about Malacia, about the tour in general, about anything else I've missed out.
Loads of stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about, I think we could talk about Wan-Bissaka a little bit as well, because there's all sorts popping off there. Should we start with this double bid? Because I think there's no better place to start. Look in the chat there as well. Get your thoughts and your comments in the chat, and we'll get to them in just a second on Jay's phone. Mazraoui and Ligt double bid. This feels like one of those old sort of Daily Star stories. Do you remember the days of the double bid? And every single one that was ever reported was a lie. And yeah,
have we ever had a double bid?
I mean, I'm trying to think
that's been
of one.
Successful, that's been accurate.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of one. It's very, very rare. You see them all the time in newspapers because it's a good way to get multiple people's faces in one story, drag people into reading an article, 2 transfers at once. It sounds perfect.
Yeah.
But they never happen until David Ornstein says this one has.
I think the last time United had a successful double bid might be, I don't even know if it's double, it might be when I feel like Brian Robson and Remy Moses.
Yes.
81. Right?
Yeah.
Get involved in the chat in the comments. Let me know when there was a successful bid.
Maybe when we bought Raphael and Fabio.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, you've done me there.
Yeah.
You've absolutely done me. Right, let's have a look then. Ornstein, like you said, mentioned this double bid. He basically said that Man United submit joint offer to sign Matthijs de Ligt and Noussair Mazraoui from Bayern Munich. Opening bid rejected. Bayern request higher fee, but talks ongoing as United try to agree deal. Personal terms in place on 5+ 1 year contracts. It very much feels like there's legs in this, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Ornstein is the GOAT. Yeah. He's probably just pipped Romano now for being the sort of toppest of the tier ones. So you don't think he's making this up. Also, Bayern seem willing to sell the pair of them. United obviously need these players. We need... I'm not going to get into the right back discussion anymore because I'm sick of repeating myself, but we need players. We need defenders.
And if we are to sell Wan-Bissaka, we need a right back.
And it looks as though we are. So that makes perfect sense if we can get 2 players of that caliber coming in. Obviously, with the Ligt as well, there's a big connection to Erik ten Hag. So you can see this happening, can't you?
Yeah. It feels like one of those that we've been linked with them both individually. So now just putting them together, I don't really see what the benefit is, in a way. Like, I get, in one sense, they both play for the same club, so let's just get these both nailed down at the same time. But also, they're 2 separate deals, aren't they? And surely Bayern are going to go, well, we want 50 for him and 20 for him, so 70 overall. And we come in and go, here's 55 for both. Like, you don't get a discount because you're buying 2. It's not like you're buying, I don't know, like lemonade, and you get buy one, get one half price or something. If it's 50 million for de Ligt euros, 20 million euros for Mazraoui, they're going to want 70 million euros. I wonder what benefit does having this as a double bid, other than, maybe United just said, well, we want him and we want him. Does double bid mean we're buying them both at the same time with the exact same transfer of cash, or does it just mean we want 2 players from Bayern Munich and we can call that a double bid? I reckon it's probably 2 bids put in at a similar time because we were chatting about them both to the same person. I don't think it was like can we get one for 50 or can we get them both for 60?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I don't know what double bid really means when it actually comes down to the sort of money of it all. I do think both players are clearly wanted. De Ligt has gone a bit cold after the Euro transfer. And Laurie Whitwell made a good point on the podcast yesterday, saying that maybe we kind of put De Ligt out front early on so that Euro would get done a little bit more easily. Yeah. So we could say, actually, well, we'd like to get you, but we've got other options. And if you want to sell him to us, if you want to join Manchester United, you've got to do it quick because otherwise we'll sign De Ligt and Branthwaite. Maybe there was a bit of that, but I do believe there's genuine interest there. If we're putting bids in, then we clearly are interested. I just want to hurry up and get this done now because I know we're not near the end of the window, but we've got less than a week from now. We've got the Charity Shield. So you want people in before that. They're not going to get a pre-season at United. That's gone out the window already. I know not everyone else hasn't made many transfers either, so I'm not lamenting that too strongly. But I would like them to be in as quick as possible because if they come in this week or between now and the Charity Shield, they can meet up with the teammates, have a couple of weeks proper training before the season kicks off. Whereas if it's any later than that, you're basically signing and playing straight away, aren't you, in competitive games?
Yeah, 100%. Get involved in the chat and the comments, and also give us your puns. We haven't got any puns today.
Yeah, come on.
Got our screen, so I want to hear your puns. David Briscoe has been a member of the first team for 17 months. Says, was great seeing you guys in San Diego. It was great seeing you as well. Also, he's gifted 5 Stretford Paddock memberships, which is fantastic. We really do appreciate all the support from our members. There's extra content on the members section at the minute. Got some behind the scenes vlogs and all that good stuff as well, so make sure if you can go and check that out. You can maybe take advantage of the generosity there from David Briscoe, who's gifted those memberships. Muhammad Ali says Jay's looking shifty. Look at where he's looking. You know what it is? It's just bugs flying around, man. They've been tatering my legs, so I'm getting a bit like, oh, is there another bug? But I need to man up. Loads of other people in the chat as well. Just Phobos Sackleman says, all right, the lads. Greg Foss says, cheers. He's been taking advantage of that generosity. Court Star says, just give me the Ligt.
Just give me the Two different ways of doing it.
Yeah. Robert Tater says, delicts myself clean. Okay.
Not bad if you can.
Yeah. Brian Casey says, should offer them Maguire as part of the deal. Harry and Eric Dyer at the back for Bayern next season. Yeah, you could try doing that.
They'd win the league. But also, we can't because we need him, unfortunately.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
I mean,
we can't get rid of Maguire now.
You can't just, like, we're at this situation now where there's a good chance Harry Maguire starts in the first game of the season. Yeah. Julius Mazraoui says, you've been seeing a lot of Trump signs in America. A few, not have you?
Yeah.
Really?
Have you not?
Not really, no. I've seen a couple. I've not seen loads.
How many did he say?
A lot.
Maybe not a lot.
All right.
More than anyone else, I will say that.
Yeah?
Yeah. I don't think I've seen any. I mean, you got to have acted quick to get the Harris ones in already.
Yeah, that's true.
I haven't seen any of them.
No, I haven't either. Let us know what you think about that deal. Also, James Ducker, our mate from The Telegraph.
Yep.
He's been chatting about what's going on. He spoke about, I just want to touch on this as well, Tyrell Malacia, still 2 months away from a return.
Can we get to that in a second? Because
Okay.
I need a minute to process that.
Yeah. He's also said that he's been sort of doing a few interviews and stuff. He said that Højlund's in good sense of showing a good sense of humour. Also says there's a lot of talk about the togetherness within not just the squad, but United in general.
Yeah.
Like the execs are all here.
Yeah.
They're hanging around and eating with the squad, which might sound like who cares, but it's not what we've seen before. You've always had this sort of separation between the suits, shall we say, and the players, but it does feel like there's a sense of togetherness, and we've seen a little bit of that when we've been there. You know, you've seen likes of Dan Ashworth and Jason Wilcox. I know they're not necessarily executives, but all those from the coaching staff have been sort of getting involved as well. Ruud van Nistelrooy. It seems like there's a big sort of, almost like a, family dynamic to it all, which perhaps has been missing a little bit in the past as well. And he says also that United are trying to extract the positives from the Euro absence, which is not an easy task considering that was a pretty devastating injury to Lenny Euro. And like you said, that might mean more minutes for maybe Harry Maguire or Victor Lindelof, who both played against Real Betis. Of course, they've had some minutes. There's also Will Fish getting some minutes. I don't know if he's going to be making a step up. I'd be pretty surprised, to be honest with you. But just on the Tyrell Malacia thing.
Yeah.
Still 2 months away from a return.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you make of this? Because
yeah,
I thought at the very least, at the very worst case scenario, we'd see him for the beginning of this season.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like we're going to. It doesn't look like we're going to see him until maybe
not.
October.
Yeah. It's a disaster, really. And it's literally to the point now where if he hasn't sustained an injury that shortens his career, I'll be really happy. Like, that's how concerned I am about how long he's been out, the severity of this injury, the fact that it was a repeated injury that never really got healed and then he had to have another surgery. If he can just be, I was out for 16 months and then I came back and I, played till I was 32 and I got right back to where I was, I'll be really happy. I'm genuinely worried about him as a footballer at this point because it's a very, very unusual scenario. You don't usually see people out for this long with any injury. I mean, it almost has to be 2 injuries to be out for this long, if you know what I mean. Because no single injury, except maybe like a ruptured Achilles or a really, really bad knee injury or leg break, keeps you out for much more than a year. Like, he's over a year as well. I mean, yeah, maybe a head injury as well, something like that.
That wasn't what he was saying.
Oh, okay. So what did he say? I don't know what he said. Oh, it could be. Yeah, it could be obviously a mental thing as well. So I thought you meant like Petr Cech or whatever. Yeah, it could be anything, but there aren't many injuries that keep you out for this long, is what I'm saying. And the fact that it's a knee injury, which usually is 8 months, 12 months maximum, means that it's really concerning for him. So I wish they'd tell us. That's the thing I'd like. He's out for 2 more months. Is he on track? Are things okay? Because I'm half expecting him to come back and maybe not ever really be the same player again. But hopefully that's not the case.
Yeah, there's lots of concern around this one. For starters, of course, there's the fact that it's been so long.
Yeah.
There's also the fact as well that when we do hear something, it seems to get pushed back. At 1 minute, it looks like he's ready, then he's not. Now the latest is it's 2 months. Plus, as well, without being overly harsh on the kid, I think Tyrone Malacia is decent.
Yeah.
I don't think he's amazing. I think he's a good squad player. And if he loses a little bit of something because of his injuries, then is he good enough to play for Manchester United? Probably not. And I know that might sound a little bit harsh, but if we're going to be brutally honest, part of the reason Tyrone Malacia is able to do a job for Manchester United is because he's got so much energy, because he's like what he lacks in maybe a little bit of ability, he makes up for in the effort and the energy you see. So if he's to lose a bit of that, I don't know if he'd be good enough to be relied upon. Now, I hope I'm wrong, and I'd love to see him back in the squad because I think he's a positive influence on the squad as well. Everyone seems to like him. He's a good kid. And like I said, he's played some big parts in big wins last season. Not last season, the season before, I should say. Look, when we had that disastrous start to the season, he came in, win against Liverpool, win against Southampton, win against Leicester, win against Arsenal. He started all those games. And yeah, there was times when Salah got past him or Saka got past him, whatever, but he'd always make up for it. And you could see that he was a player that sort of lifted everyone. So it would be a shame if he's done, but I'm getting shades of Owen Hargreaves, where this keeps getting extended, and you look and you go, is this his United career over? I hope I'm wrong, and I'm not saying it is, but we'll have to wait and see. Let's talk a little bit about Manuel Ugarte, because I had this...
Before that, can we talk about today's sponsor, Joe?
Oh, yes, of course we can.
That'd be fantastic.
Why not? I don't know if you've heard, if you're not, we're about to tell you, but Manscaped, who are the leaders in below-the-waist grooming, have excelled themselves yet again. They have broken through the very ceiling they created, because when they brought out the Performance Package 4.0, we thought, well, that's the best you can get. They're never going to improve on that. Well, we were wrong, because they have done. They've got the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra. Yeah. Now, I know what you're going to say.
Well, I'm happy to pay full price.
Yeah, well, you don't have to, because using the code Paddock Tour, you get 20% off and you get free shipping. Now, I know what your next question is going to be.
Go on.
What's in the Performance Package 5.0?
Well, yeah, what is it?
Well, you get the Lawnmower 5.0, and I know what your next question is going to be.
Only one blade?
Yeah, no, two.
Whoa.
Interchangeable, skin-safe blades, mate.
Are you sure?
I am positive.
That seems a lot.
Yeah. Don't worry about that. They have got that in there. They have also got the weed whacker for your nose and ear hair.
I was just thinking, though, when I'm using the lawnmower, it's going to be really dark, because down there's so much growing down there that it covers all the light from the sun.
Don't I know it. No, don't worry. There's an LED... What are you giving me data lots for?
You said, don't I know it? You got me shaving my plums.
No, don't tell lies. Yeah, you've got the LED spotlight. You've got the multifunctional on-off switch, which is amazing to me. Also, as part of the Performance Package 5.0, you've got the crop preserver, you've got the ball toner, you've got the boxer briefs, you've got the shed travel bag to put all that good stuff in. And when you use the code Paddock Tour and you click on the link in the description, you get 20% off and free shipping. And you can have nether regions as beautiful as his. And trust me, I know.
Just out of shot here, they are gleaming. Absolutely gleaming. There isn't a light on in here. That's why it's so bright. That's my shiny nut box.
Exactly. And if you want a shiny nut box as good as Joe's, click on that link. Big thank you to Manscaped for sponsoring this podcast. Manuel Ugarte. I had this in my news this morning.
Come on, what's the latest?
The latest development, we saw this in the Evening Standard and elsewhere. I think L'Equipe have gone with this. Obviously, PSG moving forward, João Neves. The idea there is that PSG are going to go, you know what, Manuel Ugarte, you can have him. Sort of. Yeah. Maybe not quite like that. But the word that was used, right, you don't often hear this in transfer stories, was kinda.
As in like the bueno?
No, not kinder.
Kinda.
Like PSG are open to being a little bit kinder towards Manchester United. Which I think, really? Okay.
Yeah, cheers, lads.
Yeah.
But also that doesn't make sense, because now they're in a position where surely they need more money than ever for him, because they've just bought someone. So PSR-wise, they're in a weaker position, not a stronger one. Why would they be nicer? Now they've spent 70 million on João Neves. They need 70 million to fund that deal. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know. That's what was said.
Dishing out Kinder Buenos because they've found a new player.
Kinda.
Doesn't even make any sense.
Kinda. Softly transfer dealings.
I'll take it, though. I mean, if it obviously they're slightly more desperate for the money now. I get the sentiment. But they certainly need as much as they possibly can. That hasn't changed just because they spent more money on midfielder. I like Ugarte, and I think he's a decent player. I like what he brings. He does something that no one else at Man United does. Well, Casemiro does it when he's at his best, but no one at United did last season. He is an elite ball winner. His tackling numbers, his interception numbers are genuinely fantastic. Like, look at him across compared to other midfielders in Europe in his position, and he's one of the best in Europe at winning the ball back for his team.
Yeah.
Mainu is the best young player I've seen in a generation, but he doesn't do that. And, he does it occasionally, but that's not his strong suit. No one else does it. McTominay doesn't do it. Eriksen doesn't do it. Casemiro can, but do we get the real Casemiro anymore? I'm not sure. Ugarte is fantastic. And the other thing he's fantastic at, and he may not have the best range of passing in the world, but his passing is underrated. You look at his numbers, he's on the ball constantly. He makes a large number of passes, and they are accurate. He's in the very high percentiles again for passes made and passes completed, both in terms of short and particularly long passes. So he's someone who can get the ball, and he's not just roll it 2 yards to Mainu, which, fair enough, do a bit of that, but he can make plays himself, and he can, especially longer balls out to the wings, he's very good at that. So we don't need someone who's going to run up and down the pitch with the ball. We don't need someone that's going to be shooting from 30 yards out. We need someone to win the ball back and give it to the likes of Bruno Fernandes, Marcus Rashford, and Amad Diallo, especially if we're going to be playing more quick, kind of not counter-attacking, but high-pressing, high-reaction football. I think it'd be perfect for that, personally.
Yeah, I agree. Everything I've seen about your guy, I didn't know a lot about him, so we're linked with him, but from what I've seen and from the experts that have watched him, listening to them, he does seem like he could fit in at Manchester United, and like that sort of modern style of defensive midfielder or deep line midfielder where he can do a little bit of the nuts and bolts stuff, but he's also very good on the ball. The time, or sort of the era of the out and out destroyer is almost gone on it. Most sort of sixes now are mint on the ball. They are. You look at the elite ones that everyone sort of admires the most, and they can play superb passes, and they can pick a pass out, and they can progress the ball nicely. It's not just they get hold of it and give it to someone. There's a little bit more to that. Tom Boyce, who's been a member of the first team 7 months, says, how excited will you be for the performance package 6.0 double mega super boat motorboat 3000?
I'll say something. It can't be done.
Okay,
it literally cannot be done.
Also, Adam McCall has gifted 5 Stretford Paddock memberships.
Yes,
fantastic. Hey,
whoever he is,
big thank you to Adam McCall, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. And I don't know much about him, but he seems like a nice fella. Green Devil says Ugarte is similar style to Ander Herrera, massive engine and a destroyer. I used to love Herrera.
Perfect.
I did. I was a big Ander Herrera fan. He had that little bit of shithousery as well. Yeah, that we're missing. I miss that.
Ugarte definitely has that.
Just on midfielders.
Yeah.
Man United have received a second £20 million bid from Fulham for Scott McTominay. The Telegraph have run with this. We've been talking about this a little bit, but we can still talk about some more. It falls short of United's 25 million to 30 million valuation of McTominay. Do you see us blinking before they do?
My opinion's changing on this a little bit. I went from being, we can't get rid of all these midfielders, and I'm sort of getting to the point where we need to just say, is this person good enough to be here when we're successful? If it's no, get rid. Yeah. And then we can worry about replacing them later. If we are to accept that this is a rebuild, that we might be a bit of bumps along the way, then we have to let people go, especially if they're guaranteed profit like McTominay is. I think he gets a lot of stick. We've talked about this no end of times, but I think if you can get 30 million quid from him, or 25 million, maybe rising up to 30, something like that with add-ons, then do it. And then we can worry about Eriksen and Casemiro later. If they need to go, they can go as well. Like, if we've decided McTominay you can't be here when we're successful, or when we're where we want to be, then let him go, and then we'll worry about bringing other people in afterwards. You can't just be completely short-sighted, sell 30 players and not replace them. But I think if you're making money like you are with Scott McTominay, it's decent profit. We can spend that elsewhere, and I think we've got to trust the new people who are coming in, who clearly don't rate McTominay, because if they're willing to sell him, then they can't rate him that highly. We have to trust that the right thing to do is to let him go. And if Fulham are coming in with a £30 million bid, or 20 at the minute, let's say we get to 25 or so, for me, you got to take it. Just do it.
Yeah, you have. I mean, because he came through the academy, it's all profit, which helps with PSR. I get the frustrations, because I get annoyed when I see players going for 40, 50 million. And I don't think they're as good as Scott McTominay. And it's like the sort of, some of the transfers you're seeing at the minute are a bit suspicious, shall we say, as well. Whereas there's a lot of transfers between Premier League clubs, and you're going, okay, what's quite going on here? And Scott McTominay, whether you rate him or not, his record is very good in terms of the goals he scored. He can play a number of positions. But if we are going to have this rebuild, then you're right, it does need to happen. And also, getting 20 million or 25 million for a player that came through the academy is the same as, say, getting 50 million for someone you spent 25 million for. Do you know what I mean? And people wouldn't be as bothered about that. So I think we just have to look at it from a PSR point of view and trying to progress the club forward. So we'll see what happens with that one. Yeah. Again, it does feel like there's legs in it. It has been linked with, I think, Galatasaray and Fenerbahce as well.
Yeah.
Just anyone in Turkey, basically. Let's just link him with the Sixers while we're at it. Doesn't look like there's much happening there, though. It does feel more likely he will end up at Craven Cottage. But as always, we'll keep you posted. Make sure you are hitting that like button as well, please, people. Let's talk about Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah.
West Ham's move delayed after hijack, according to Football Insider. And they're saying that, I think it's Inter Milan are interested in him. I mean, it does feel like Wan-Bissaka's going, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does. I mean, whether he goes to Inter Milan, remains to be seen. I'd be very surprised if he did. West Ham seems like his most likely destination. There's been a lot of interest there. There was some talk of him going back to Crystal Palace. Not quite sure that's going to happen. I think if United are going to sell him, though, they're going to sell him sooner rather than later because he's got 1 year left on his deal. And, you know, they're not going to wait till January either because that's just going to be pointless. He's going to have to sell this summer.
Yeah, the Inter thing only makes sense if we want Denzel Dumfries, I think. And I think that you could see why, as a player, you might be more keen to play for Inter Milan, who, you know, are in with a shout of winning Serie A and getting to a Champions League final like they did 2 years ago. Whereas West Ham, let's be honest, best case scenario, you qualify for the Europa League. That's your best possible season, realistically. Yeah. And even that's very unlikely. So if I'm Aaron Wan-Bissaka, I'd love to play for Inter Milan. One of the biggest clubs in the world, biggest clubs in Italy, very successful, good team at the moment as well, doing very well. Are they the reigning champions, aren't they, in Italy? I believe they are. So, you know, give me that move over playing for West Ham. But I think they would then need to lose a right back, and obviously Denzel Dumfries ticks that box. It's just whether United want him. Do United want to replace Aaron Wan-Bissaka for Denzel Dumfries? And if they do, then send him there. And if they don't, let's see what West Ham have got to offer. But for me, just whoever gives us the most money.
Yeah.
You know, that's all that matters to me. Just get more money in from him. If we're going to sell him, if that's what we've decided, get the most money for him. But if I'm Aaron Wan-Bissaka, I'd absolutely love to play for Inter Milan. If United literally don't want me anymore, you know, it's clearly a bigger club.
It's interesting because I still feel like we're waiting to see what INEOS are about, you know. Like, the things that we've seen so far are good and are positive. And in terms of their appointments, like Rude coming back in, Omar Barada coming in, Dan Ashworth coming in, Jason Wilcox coming in. Yeah, great. All makes sense. I'm happy about it. Footballing people in footballing positions and also elite footballing people in terms of what they've achieved in footballing positions, great. But in terms of transfers, so far what we've seen has just been okay for me. I think the Lenny Yoro one was, you know, a good signing. Paid quite a bit for him, but he was obviously sought by Real Madrid. But you look at that and you think, okay, that's a solid one. Xerxes, a bit of a tap-in. A player that, you know, I think we staggered the amount of money we're giving, so it's not quite his buyout clause, or a bit more so his buyout clause, but it's staggered over a period of time. But again, it's not like an amazing signing that, wow, I can't believe we got him. It's a good signing. But the next step is, okay, who else are we bringing in? And also, who are we selling and what are we getting from them? For them, sorry. So it'll be interesting to see what INEOS do in this summer, because I feel in terms of transfers, so far it's been decent, but is it going to continue? Are we going to see something where you go, wow, that's got a bit of a wow factor to it? And that wow factor might just be moving some players on and getting actually decent money for him, because at Manchester United, we never do that.
Yeah.
So if you get decent money for a player, that for me would be a wow factor.
I agree. I think who we sell is just as important as who we buy this summer. And getting actually cash for someone rather than just getting 12 million when they're almost about to leave, or 6 million or 3 million or 1 million like we normally get. We need more players, definitely. But I think certain players that we're signing at the minute, Xerxes is one, and maybe Mazraoui could be another one, where I don't not want there to be a wow factor, obviously. But the fact that there isn't doesn't mean there isn't going to be a success, because the problem that United have had is that we only sign players that sound great to start with, and then they actually get here and they're shit. That's been the whole problem we've had. Like, there's a wow factor for Lukaku and all of these people, Di Maria and Ronaldo and whatnot, and they weren't any good. What we need is someone who, I know you're not saying this won't happen, someone like a Xerxes or someone like a Mazraoui or a Ugarte maybe, who you go, oh, I don't know about him, we'll see, who then goes on to become world-class, or that sort of notch below world-class where you can rely on them to win you big games. That's what we need, and you can only tell that with time. So for me, like you said, the wow factor this summer that we could immediately say, well done, is selling players who need to leave for money more than just the usual Man United 8 million, 12 million, 6 million. Like, if we can start getting 20s, 30s and 40s for players, negotiating hard and negotiating well, that would be a massive wow factor. I completely agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, there are some players that we're going to have to get rid of on the cheap and take the hit on. Someone like maybe, I don't know, I don't know what the latest is with him, but say Hannibal Mejbri, for example.
Yeah.
Are you even going to get the 10 million back that you paid for him? Probably not.
No.
You take a hit on that one. I get it. You can't. Not every player is going to go for big money. Some of the players that are coming through the academy that aren't going to make it into the first team, again, you might let them go for pennies, or you might just release them or whatever. But there are some players that I do want to see Manchester United playing a little bit more hardball with in the transfer market. Hopefully, we can see that happening. As always, though, we will keep you updated on any transfer developments. We're going to have the news every day while we're out here, and then obviously when we get back as well. If you've not done already, go and check out all the other videos on the channel. I think you've got an interview with Laurie Whitwell.
Yes, make sure you check that out.
We've got all the good stuff. Also, some of the players we've mentioned, we've done like scouting reports on them. We've had chats about them. So go and check them out as well. We'll be back later on or tomorrow with the news. And then, of course, it's the big game against the Scousers.
Big
Manchester United. It is the big one. This is the big one. Playing Liverpool here in South Carolina. It's going to be covering that. We're going to have the reaction from that. And hopefully speak to some players after the game as well. So that's been Joe Smith. I've been Jay Marty. This has been Transfers Live. Big thank you to Manscaped for sponsoring us. Go and check out the link in the description using the code Paddock. And thanks for watching.